Chachma that took place, this idea of the Pnimius, Lepnimiusam, and we said that the Pnimius that goes on the Panim goes on the level of the face that doesn't have hairs, meaning it's beyond Simtsum, it's a level of Chachma Stima'am, the concealed level of Chachma, and that is what's being drawn down by the Torah, that we're coming it all the way, not just the level of Chachma the way it's in Atzilus, or Chachma the way it comes down to Biyah, but even Chachma the way it comes into, from all the way from the level of Atzmus. And that's the place that have nothing to do with the hairs. The hairs shows already on the level of Tzimtzum. And that has to do also with Laharis Leiponim, has to do with the level of the inner part of the Torah, that it comes down all the way from the innermost part of the Torah in the Pnimius of a Yidden, in a way also that he is Mara Leiponim, like we said, that Moshe Rabbeinu needs to not just teach the halachas, but he also has to make it explained, has to make sure that it permeates the person, etc. So now we're going to connect it back to our pasuk of Eila Mishpatim. So again, we're holding on the 4th page of the Maimer, page Ches, Isdalet, line 17. According to this will be understood also where it says Ve'ela Mishpatim Tasim Lefnehem. We explained the idea of Lefnehem. What's the idea of Ve'ela and these? What's the idea and these? So the Chazal say that why does it begin with the letter Vav, our parsha? Because Ve'ela Moisif al Rishonim. By saying and these, it adds to the earlier ones, meaning it connects it to what we had in Parshas Yisroi about Matan Torah. The Matan Torah was explicitly and openly given on Har Sinai, and the Yidden heard from Hashem the Aseres HaDibros and so on. So in a similar vein, the Chazal say, Ve'ela Maha Rishonim Misinai Af Elu Misinai. Don't just think that what you heard, what it says about the Aseres HaDibros, that was on Har Sinai, but even these logical, rational laws and parts of Mishpatim, these are also given on Har Sinai. Ki b'Sinai b'shas Matan Torah, by Sinai during the giving of the Torah, kashavayed Havai Har Sinai. When Havai descended on Har Sinai, hoisam shoches pnimius va'atzmus haTorah. It was drawing down from the innermost and essential level of the Torah. Like we said before, the level that we're talking about, the Panim, the level of Chacham Stima, and so on. As a continuation to what happened by Matan Torah, over there we're not bringing the pasuk Panim, over there it's Matan Torah, it's open, it's Hashem revealed himself. In continuation of this, it says, these are the mishpatim that you will place before them, af elu mesinai. Also these, meaning what we're talking about over here, about Lefnehem, the Panim, also those are from Sinai. It's the drawing down of the Panim, the Pnimius of Torah, the level of Chacham Stima, the concealed wisdom, all the way to Chachma Sheba'atzmus. Like we said also earlier, this, the Panim Sheba'Torah, the Chacham Stima, the Chachma Sheba'atzmus, comes down, internalized into the Yidden. This is why the Chazal said, just like over there by Matan Torah, it was with fear and trembling and all different types of expressions of shaking and fright and so on. So too, when we learn Afkan, when we're learning every single day, when we have the Torah of every single day, it also has to be with that same feeling of awe for the Torah. Like the Alter Rebbe explains, the Lechura in the Muvnat Dimyan Malahal Nafkan, seemingly it's not understood the comparison that just like there, Just like Matan Torah, we experience this awe-inspiring type of experience. So too, also here, when it comes to sitting and learning Torah now, we should also experience it. How is it possible to experience the same thing? Upon the by the state, by when the Yidden were standing by Har Sinai, there was the revelations of Hashem's essence in such a way that the entire nation saw the sounds, and face to face Hashem spoke. They heard with their physical ear, and they saw with their physical eye. So therefore, how's it compared to what I'm doing now when I'm sitting and learning Torah? Top of page test. What is it connected with the involvement in Torah when every person learns a Torah for himself? He's not in the presence of Har Sinai, he doesn't have the revelations and so on. Who the idea behind this is also the involvement of Torah. And that's in every person, every time. Dvar Hashem mamish is also mamish, the spoken word of Hashem. That was told to Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai. Since everyone that reads in the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu koire v'shoyne kenegdo, Hashem reads and also studies and facing him. Koire v'shoyne is also Mikra, Torah Shebiksav, and Shoyna Mishnah, which is Torah Shebal. So whatever I'm learning in Torah, Hashem is like sitting, facing me, and learning with me. Not just that we're learning together, but even more so that my tongue will respond your sayings. That the Torah that I'm studying is not my Torah. It's not my understanding. It's not my learning. It's your words. It's Hashem's words. My tongue is responding, meaning it's like someone responding after the one that's saying whatever that person is saying, meaning that there's what's called a responsive reading. Like the Chazan will say l'chadoidi, and then you repeat after the Chazan and say l'chadoidi, or any other types of situations like that. That's called oina achra koida. So in that case, I'm not saying anything. I'm just repeating what the Chazan is saying. In a similar vein, when we learn Torah, it's considered ka'oina achra koida. I'm just responding and repeating what Hashem is saying. So when I have that type of awareness and consciousness that it's really Hashem speaking, so then I could experience that same type of awe like I did by Matan Torah, which is still coming from Hashem, just like every single morning, every single day when I'm learning Torah, it's from Hashem. So it continues on Oishei v'zeu gam hashakos v'asher tsim. Koyal Moshe Rabbeinu. This is also where it says that you will place it before them. That we said earlier that who is the one that it's referring to where it says you will place, that just like it says sikna is you will acquire, asher tsim, in the simple idea of you will place. Who is the you in that pasuk? The simple meaning of that pasuk, it's referring to Moshe Rabbeinu was the one that places the Torah into the Pnimius. Who dafki Yasam המשפטים לפניהם, specifically Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that places the Mishpatim before them, into them. The idea behind this is, like it continues in Torah, like it's explained in a different place, in the explanation of Eila Maseh, in the second Maimer on Eila Maseh, how this level, that we spoke about, this level, which is a ray of the hidden Chachma that's in the face. It's called the seal of Hashem. And the seal of Hashem, the Chazal say, is emes, is the word emes, or the idea, not just a word, the idea of truth. The tikkun ve'emes, meaning of the Yud Gimel Tikunei Dikna, otherwise known as the 13 attributes of mercy, that we say Hashem, Hashem, Kel Rachim V'Chanun. So it says, etc. It says Ve'emes. What is Ve'emes? Hu'atikun Hashvi. That's the 7th of the Yud Gimel Midas, the 7th of the Yud Gimel Tikunei Dikna, the levels of the beard. Even though we usually associate the Yud Gimel Tikunim with the 13 parts of the beard, still in all, it's actually coming from the Oir of Chachmas Tima, the way it is on its own. That's not through the constriction of the level of hairs, not like the beard, and definitely not like the hairs on the top of the head, which are constricted. That's also the idea of truth. Truth is about not being constricted, not being changed. It's in every place the way it is, without changes. Like it's hinted in the word emes, that the word emes itself, the makeup of the word, indicates this idea that there's no changes, just like truth is constant, and it's not true here and not true there. Truth is truth all over. The same thing, the word emes indicates that as well. Indicates that as well. It begins with the letter Aleph. It's the beginning of all the letters. And it continues in the letter Mem, which is Emtsa, the middle of the letters. And it concludes with the letter Tov, Soif, the beginning of the end of the letters, meaning Hainu, from its beginning to its end, it's without change. So this level of the Pnimius, of the Chachma, the Panim, that level that's beyond the hair is the level of Chachma Stima, the way it's in the level of Emes. So this has a specific connection with Moshe Rabbeinu. This idea comes down specifically through Moshe. Ki Moshe in Yonei Emes. Moshe is also the idea of Emes, like it says, Shemidas Emes Ra. The Chazal say that Moshe Rabbeinu saw the midah of Hashem's truth, because it says that Moshe quickly bowed down and he kneeled, and it says that what did he see? He saw the truth, and the truth of Hashem brought him to that great bittul. So we see that Moshe Rabbeinu also was the level of Emes. We also have the famous expression, Moshe Emes v'Torah also Emes. Moshe is truth and his Torah is truth. So we see the association of Moshe with Emes. So that's why Moshe is the one that's Tsim Lefneim. He is the one that brings this pneumistic level, the level of Emes, the level of Chachmas Timah to the Yidden, because that's his level as well. And this is connected. If you remember, he said it's in Parshas Maseh, he speaks about it, because Moshe Rabbeinu also has to do with what it says in Parshas Maseh. V'zeu gam hashakasim. This is also what it says. Vayichtov Moshe. Moshe wrote down es moitzoeihem lemaseeihem, their goings out to their journeys. Ve'ela maseeihem lemoitzoeihem, and these are their journeys to their goings out. So all the Ramarim ask about this, why this repetition that he wrote down their goings out to their journeys, and here are their journeys to their goings out. And also they ask, why does it flip it around? It starts in the beginning, it says that he wrote down their goings out to their journeys, and then it says these are the journeys to their goings out. Why this switch? Because each one goes on a different thing. Shehu, that Moshe Rabbeinu hamamshich v'moitzoeihem, he is the one that draws down from the Yidden's goings out. The Koy al Shoyrish Makar Neshama, it's referring to the root and the source of the Neshama. So he's taking the Yidden, he's drawing out the Yidden. That's Moitzoeihem. Lemaseeihem, to the Neshama's journeys. What is the Neshama's journey? Shazel Kefisha Neshama Nasa v'Yardam Igre Rama Lebira Mikdas, the way Neshama traveled and descended from a high building to a deep pit. And that is the first part. Moitza'ehem l'masa'ehem that Moshe Rabbeinu does. Another thing is v'noisef al hamshachim al ma'il lamata. In addition to the drawing down of the neshama from above to below, nasis al yodei acharkach gam halam al mata l'maylo. So then afterwards, through Moshe Rabbeinu becomes the ascent and the elevation from below to above. That's what it means. These are the journeys from where we are below to going out to where we came out from, to our source above. And who does it? It's Moshe Rabbeinu. V'in top of page Yud. Who from the Vayichtov Moshe. This is all done in such a way that Moshe wrote Shevayichtov Hukmoiksav Sofer Shepirusha Chasam Sofer. That the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu writing is similar to what the Gemara explains, that the writing of a scribe is like that means also the sealing, the signing of the scribe. In this case, when we're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu writing, he's also connected with the seal of Hashem. It's the drawing down the seal of Adebishter, which we said before, is emes. So that's why Moshe Rabbeinu, who's the level of emes, draws down from above to below the neshama and elevates the neshama from below to above. Tsim the koil Moshe. That's where it says that usual place that's referring to Moshe. He's the one that draws down the innermost level of Torah, all the way to the level of Chachma Sheva Atzmus, to the innermost level of the Yidden, because he's the one that draws the Yidden down from above and elevates the Yidden from below to above. Through Moshe Rabbeinu's imparting the Yidden with this level of the innermost level of the Torah to their innermost level, so then it becomes where it says that when a poor person and a rich person meet up, that Hashem illuminates both of their eyes. That the Alter Rebbe brought this down, like Dam and Tanya. Poor and rich means also in knowledge and observance and in Torah mitzvahs, that when the rich one in Torah mitzvahs meets up with the poor one and he shares with him and he gives him, it's not just the poor one, the receiver, that's getting, but Hashem illuminates both their eyes, that the rich one that's sharing also gets. In the same vein, Moshe Rabbeinu is the one that's Tsim Lefneim. He's the one that puts it into us. He's the one that draws down from the Pnimius into us. And he gains by this as well. That even by Moshe, it's added the level, is the innermost level, in a much higher way. So now he goes in the last paragraph. This is also what it says. Following this, what is the first halacha that he speaks about over here in the pasuk after it says "Ve'ela המשפטים תשים לפניהם"? It says "Kisikna eved ivri," when you will acquire a Hebrew servant. And earlier in the Maimer we asked that seemingly why does it change from the plural to the singular, from Lefnehem, which is plural, to the singular, which is sikna. We also mentioned what it says in other Mamorim, the question that he changes from third person Lefnehem to ki sikna, that for a second person. And the Maimer explained that ki sikna is not referring to Klal Yisrael, but ki sikna is going on Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, who is the one that's Tsim Lefnehem, he is the one that is drawing down this highest, most level into the Yid. He is the one that Kisikna Eved Ivri, that he acquires an Eved Ivri. What is the idea of the Eved Ivri? What specifically Ivri about? Why were Yidden called Ivri? Because across the river, that's where your forefathers dwelled. And Chassidus explains that it means that the source of the neshama is across the river beyond Seder Ishtalshlos. The river has to do with Bina or Bechlal Seichel, the level of river. Mayim has to do with Chachma and so on. Yidden's source is beyond Seder Ishtalshlos, Be'ever Anor. That's why they're called Ivri. Shu inyan shoylish u'makayr neshama mitzayim. It's that place, the Ever Hanor, the level of Ivri, is the source and of the neshama, the root of the neshama, which we said before that Moshe Rabbeinu transcribed mitzayim l'masayim, where they came out from, where they were extracted from. And Moshe Rabbeinu is called the one that acquires it. So in other places he explains that acquisition shows that there was nothing changed in the thing that's acquired. It's the same thing. It's just before I didn't have it, now it came down to me. Before it was by the seller, now it's by me, the buyer. Moshe Rabbeinu, kisikna, means he is acquiring, he's drawing down from the level of Moitza'ayim, from the level of Ivri, Ever Anor Yashav V'Seichem, from the level that's higher than Seder Ishtalshlos, from the Pnimiyusam, he's drawing it down here into our world. We're saying Kisikna Eved Ivri. What are you acquiring? That the Ivri, the one that's from the level that's higher than Seder Ishtalshlos, should be a level of Eved, meaning, like it says further in the pasuk, that 6 years he has to work. What is the 6 years that he has to work referring to? It's referring to the work of refining the sparks that's during the 6,000 years that the world exists, that we know this 6,000 years that will be in our days before Mashiach's coming. This is likened to the 6 days of creation, and corresponding to that there are 6 years. So the time of the 6,000 years of the creation till Mashiach comes, that is the 6 years of working the Avodas HaBerur. Until the 7th year, that's when he goes out free. The idea of going out free, the Koyal Elef HaShvi, it's referring to the 7th millennium. After the year 6,000, when we're going into the 7th thousand, that's the time when it's not the avodah of berurim anymore. We're not refining the sparks. We don't have to do the avodah. We are now in a state of reward. Betanya, like it's explained in Tanya, that's the time of the main receiving a reward. After the beginning of the receiving the reward of when Mashiach comes, but that is only the first stage. There's the second stage of Mashiach's coming, that's the main time of receiving reward. That's when we enter the 7th millennium. Again, the number 7, Shabbos is the 7th day. That is, Shabbos is a time of non-avoid. It's not a time of work, it's a time of rest, meaning a time of reward. In Shabbos itself, there's the afternoon of Shabbos, which is called in the Kabbalah the will of all wills, the deepest level, the highest level. That is what we'll experience. Menucha, like it says, the expression Yom Shekul Shabbos Menucha L'Chayei Elamim, to everlasting life. The Rebbe in a different mimer brings down very interestingly that we don't have to really wait for this to occur till the year 6,000. He says, we know that in halacha there's a mitzvah. There's an idea of Tosfos Shabbos. A person needs to add to Shabbos Friday. A person cannot wait till the last minute before Shkia and then start Shabbos. Because in addition to all the mitzvahs of Shabbos, there's a mitzvah aseh, there's a positive commandment of being moisif michoil ala Shabbos, to add. So even though we may not light candles 18 minutes before, but we can't go into Shabbos to the last minute of Shkia. We have to take on Shabbos at least a few minutes beforehand, 2, 3, 5 minutes, something beforehand, to fulfill that mitzvah aseh. So the Rebbe says the same thing now, that we don't have to experience this only after the 7th millennium begins, but even now, Friday afternoon, we have to add and experience this even before the actual year 6,000.